Donald Trump rode to victory on the slogan, "Make America Great Again," tapping into a wellspring of economic anxiety among voters. He promised to bring back jobs, boost wages, and restore American manufacturing to its former glory. His recipe for achieving this economic revival? A potent cocktail of protectionist trade policies, sweeping deregulation, and substantial tax cuts. Trump supporters cheered these proposals, seeing them as a much-needed corrective to years of economic malaise. They believed that by putting America first, Trump could unleash a wave of prosperity that would benefit all Americans. However, critics warned that Trump's policies were more likely to exacerbate existing problems than to solve them. They argued that his focus on short-term gains would come at the expense of long-term economic stability. The debate over Trump's economic agenda is not just an academic exercise, it has real-world consequences for the lives of millions of Americans. If Trump's policies succeed in jump-starting the economy, it could lead to higher wages, more jobs, and increased investment. However, if his critics are right, his policies could lead to trade wars, higher prices for consumers, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. Only time will tell what the ultimate impact of Trump's economic policies will be. But one thing is certain, the stakes are high. One of the cornerstones of Trump's economic agenda is his belief that America is being taken advantage of in trade deals, particularly with China. He argues that China has been engaging in unfair trade practices, such as currency manipulation and intellectual property theft, for years, costing American jobs and hurting American businesses. To combat this perceived imbalance, Trump has imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, sparking a trade war between the world's two largest economies. The tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, making them more expensive for American consumers and businesses. The Trump administration argues that the tariffs are necessary to protect American jobs and force China to change its ways. They claim that the tariffs will bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States and reduce the trade deficit with China. However, critics argue that the tariffs are backfiring, hurting American businesses and consumers more than they are hurting China. They point out that the tariffs have raised prices for businesses and consumers, reduced exports, and created uncertainty in the global economy. The trade war with China is one of the most controversial aspects of Trump's economic agenda. It remains to be seen whether the tariffs will achieve their stated goals or simply inflict economic pain on both sides of the Pacific. Another key element of Trump's economic plan is a commitment to deregulation. Trump argues that excessive regulations stifle innovation, hinder job creation, and place an unnecessary burden on American businesses. He has vowed to roll back what he sees as burdensome regulations across a wide range of industries, from finance to energy to environmental protection. The Trump administration has already taken steps to loosen regulations on businesses, arguing that this will unleash economic growth and create jobs. They point to the rollback of regulations in the financial industry, which they claim has boosted lending and investment. They also highlight the easing of environmental regulations, which they say has reduced costs for energy companies and created jobs in the energy sector. However, critics argue that deregulation comes with significant risks. They warn that rolling back regulations could lead to a repeat of the financial crisis of 2008, as banks and other financial institutions engage in risky behavior without adequate oversight. They also express concern that environmental deregulation could have devastating consequences for public health and the environment. The debate over deregulation is a complex one, with valid arguments on both sides. While reducing burdensome regulations can undoubtedly boost economic activity, it's crucial to strike a balance between promoting economic growth and protecting consumers, workers, and the environment. Income inequality, a persistent issue in America, saw varied impacts under Trump's policies. While some argued that tax cuts and deregulation spurred economic growth, Others pointed out that the benefits were disproportionately enjoyed by the wealthy. During Trump's tenure, the stock market hit record highs, which, primarily benefited those with significant investments. Meanwhile, wage growth for lower and middle-income earners remained relatively stagnant. Critics also noted that cuts to social programs and healthcare could exacerbate the gap between the rich and the poor. Ultimately, the debate over Trump's economic legacy continues, with strong opinions on both sides of the aisle. The national debt, well, it's been a topic of heated debate. Under Trump's administration, the debt ballooned significantly. Critics argue this could pose risks for future economic stability, while supporters believe the growth was necessary to stimulate the economy. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. During his tenure, Trump frequently criticized the Federal Reserve, often pushing for lower interest rates. This kind of pressure on the central bank was, let's say, unprecedented. Some viewed it as a necessary move to boost economic growth, while others saw it as a threat to the Fed's independence. The impact of this pressure is still a matter of discussion among economists. Trump's economic policies didn't just affect the United States, they had a global ripple effect. From trade wars with China to renegotiating NAFTA, the international community watched closely. Many countries had to adapt to the new economic landscape, and the long-term consequences of these changes are still unfolding. Navigating through the economic crosscurrents of Trump's policies has been, challenging for many. Businesses, investors, and everyday citizens had to adapt to a rapidly changing economic environment. The legacy of Trump's economic agenda will be debated for years to come, but one thing is clear. It left a significant mark on the global economic landscape.